This is Mr. Jorgensen, Superintendent at Southern Valley Schools, and I thought I'd just give you some highlights from our 2018-2019 Academic Progress Report. So what that means is that this presentation is going to be about how our students scored last year on the state assessments and on the state ACT test. So the state testing is called NSCAS, or Nebraska Student Centered Assessment System. And our students, grades 3 through 8, are the one who has to take this test. And then the ACT is given to our high school juniors, and that's the assessment that is given to our high school kids. So I'm going to go over those and how we performed, and then we will talk about how that compares to the rest of the state. And then I'll get into our rating from the Nebraska Department of Education. So the first subject area is English Language Arts. Just so we're clear, the numbers that we're showing are percentages, and those percentage mean the percentage of students who are proficient, so which means that they have a great understanding of the content. So our goal is to have everybody proficient, but as you can see, us or the state have everybody proficient. And so, and looking at this graph, it kind of shows you 3rd through 8th scores from the year before, 2017-18, which is in blue, and then 2018-19, which is in red. So there are some areas in English Language Arts that we obviously need to show some improvement, because if you look at 3rd, it's has went down in the last year. 4th grade went up, and some went up, some went down. So we want that trend to always be going up, because we always want to be showing improvement. However, you got to understand that the 3rd grade, the 2 years, is not comparing the same group of kids, so it's 2 totally different groups of kids. So it's not really showing growth for the same group of kids the whole way throughout. Now, the next subject then is math. So again, same percentage numbers, percent proficient, and that kind of thing. But again, these numbers are a little bit higher, but math has been our school improvement goal for the last 5 years, which is good, which means we have made some improvements, because we are quite far ahead this year than we were a year ago. Actually last year compared to 2 years ago. So that means we are making good progress and growth in all areas, which is good. So it shows again the different areas. Again, same thing. It's comparing 2 different groups of kids in each grade, so it's not the same kids from in 3rd grade from the 2 years. It's comparing 2 different groups, so keep that in mind. Science is a little different because I have a little more data that we can use, and science is really only given to the 5th and the 8th grade for the NSCAS. It has the 11th on here because it was given in the 14-15 and 15-16 school year. However, 18-19, that score on there is actually the ACT test, not the NSCAS. So that column on the 11th is a little bit misleading, which is why there's 2 areas of blank there. However, the science on the other 2, the 5th and the 8th, are accurate. However, in 5th grade, obviously it looks like we've had a steady decline, so we are working on solutions to that right now. And then 8th grade has been up and down, and so, but we still are going on our way back up, so that is good data to show. The high school mainly is assessed using the ACT scores, and if you don't know what the ACT is, it is a national test, mainly given as a college entrance exam to help qualify students to get into college, but also to qualify for scholarships as well. So the ACT scores 2 or 3 years ago, the ACT test 2 or 3 years ago, the Nebraska Education Department adopted this as their official test for the high school. And so I'm going to show you our ACT scores as well. We have 3 years of data on this, so we've done it for 3 years. The different areas are English Language Arts and math and science. And so it shows that we have kind of made some steady growth there, which is very good in the ACT test. So you can see our last year's growth of 2018-19, we are almost above 20 on all of them, which is a good accomplishment. Again, this test is only given to juniors, so again, this would have been last year's juniors or this year's senior, or again, the class of 2020's ACT score. So everybody has to take it, every junior across the state. All right, so now let's compare them to the state average, both the NSCAS and the ACT test. So here is it's supposed to be purple, but it kind of looks blue, but the Southern Valley scores are in the purplish blue color, and then the state is in the red. So you can see English, we are lower than the state average, and then in the NSCAS scores, and then also in the NSCAS science, we are a little bit below average. So those are going to be two areas of focus moving forward, so we can make sure that we are showing improvement. Areas that we excel: NSCAS math, again, we are at 66 and the state is at 52 average, which is good. For Southern Valley, it's been a school improvement goal, so it looks like what they've been doing, or what the teachers have been doing and the students have been doing in classroom, has worked. The ACT is quite an accomplishment for this group of juniors last year or this year's seniors. They are quite high compared to the state average, so 65 in English, 68 in math, and 68 in science. So those are very good numbers when you compare them to the state. Again, we aren't perfect, obviously, here. We need to work on some things in NSCAS English, and we also need to work a little bit on the NSCAS math, or science, excuse me, not math. So moving forward, we're going to continue to try and improve all of those numbers, not just the low numbers, but we're going to continue to try to build and make those numbers even higher. So that's kind of a summation of our assessments and how our kids are learning and testing and that kind of thing. But in addition, the Department of Education came up with what is called AQuest, which is Accountability for a Quality Education System for Today and Tomorrow. Essentially what it is it is a rating system, an accountability system to show how districts are performing across the state. And so I'm going to briefly go over that and show you how that works. So AQuest is based on what are called 6 tenets. So I have here all the different tenets going clockwise. So like tenet 1 is college and career ready. So are they ready to go on to college, or are they ready to enter a career? Assessment is the second tenet, which is what I've been talking about the previous part of this video, which is a major part of this rating. Positive partnerships and relationships and student success. So do we have those relationships, and are students being successful in school and after school? And then educator effectiveness, how effective are our teachers in improving our scores, and so that is part of tenet 4. Tenet 5 has to do with transition. So are our students going from high school into the college or workforce, and do we have those transitions ready for those kids to be successful? And then obviously last one is education or opportunities for success, or tenet number 6, access. So that has to do with attendance and a few other things on tenet number 6. So our score comes kind of from all of these, although I will say that assessment is a major portion of it, and so on. So they aren't all equally into the score, but assessment is a large piece. So we are given a score based on all of these areas. So the last slide then is how we performed. So if you can look at the little diagram here, and it shows the classifications of schools and districts, there are essentially 4 ratings: needs improvement, good, great, and excellent. And so they take the data from these 6 tenets and they put it all together, and they come up with a rating for all the districts across the state. So these are the ratings for our school district. So you can see that the district was rated great. So that's considering the elementary, middle school, and high school scores all together as one, and they gave us a great rating. So the high school ended up having its own individual great rating, same with the middle school students, and then the elementary actually received an excellent, which is very good. And so these are scores that we should be very proud of as far as an AQuest rating goes. Obviously, we want to continue to be an improvement here as well, and we want to have excellence all across the board. And obviously, as an administration, a board, and as our staff and students, we will continue to work towards becoming rated excellent across the board. So that's kind of the summary of our academic progress report. If you have any questions, you can contact me at the school. Again, this is Mr. Jorgensen, Superintendent at Southern Valley Schools. I hope you all have a wonderful day.